One of the more obvious things that the attackers tried to pull was to void what happened and what they've done from civil history. And how they've gone about that is to create a sociological um, accepted viewpoint about West Coast drug mythology and say that everyone in Liverpool and Pittsburgh subscribes to that. When evidence is presented, they violently knock it away. I'll give you an example of a relatively simple argument that defeats everything they've done and said. It's the idea of a comfort zone. For me as a child, carbonated beverages and pizzas were too strong. They were outside my comfort zone. Now, these assassins claim that after brutally battering me, terrorizing me, and forcing me onto inhalants, that I was somehow violating John Lennon's comfort zone and reporting them as a snitch. And they started calling me Susie Creamcheese and queerbait and things like this. And that's the norm in Lou Reed's headquarters that led to the murder of Circe and so on. So, because they can't have that. What they created was a script that they used a dummy for and then said, we'll put the dummy on trial based on the origin of West Coast mythology about drug culture, rather than arrest the guilty. And said that this was necessary so nobody in history studies got wise to the fact that AIDS was an attack. They poisoned me in the mouth and released COVID. And they called this momentum. And they tell this story to the people who they take as souvenirs to hell or where heaven or wherever they think they're going as John Lennon's lemmings. And the most serious assassin among them, Muriel Zappa, demands that I be executed. She murdered Circe as a way of challenging my chivalry. Okay, so that's established what happened. But how did it happen is a slightly different picture. There was an old saying, state ways can't change folk ways, which was invoked by the KKK to justify cutting down civil law norms. The KKK didn't like black people in those days, but now they want to include black people in the survival arc zone. And they broad black people because black people are poorer than white people. They call it restitution rather than corruption. So, when they have pussy ball operators like Clarence Thomas, clearly playing a game of organized pussy ball, an ultimate fight with murders galore, demanding tribute, sexual tribute, to the dominant oligarchs, and leering over battered pedophile films that they used for blackmail that they called psychiatry. You can see that the pornographic extermination junta is also a snuff film syndicate. We don't know how many of their rapes and snuff movies they have made to sell in the underground of Sotheby's. But we have strong reason to doubt that John Lennon really died. It looks like a double fantasy pulled by Pentagon Disney, who certainly had the power and the savvy and the influence in New York media to get it done. That's, a simple explanation for all of it. A less simple explanation is that Paul McCartney just decided to switch teams and say, well, I'll make more money helping the people who pulled this stunt. And that doesn't explain any of the evidence, but it reconciles the ideology.